Hi everybody, Melissa Sorrentino here. Today I want to talk about improv and something about improv that I think we should all apply to life. Okay, so let's get right into it. It is this. Just say yes again. Say yes again. We all know in improv that we're supposed to say yes. We're supposed to say yes to our scene partners. That way we can build together. I often think when I talk about yes and, I think of like two guys building a like a log cabin, you know, like two characters building a log cabin, and like one's like, hey, let's put the first log here. And if the other guy's like, no, let's not put it there. Okay, well, let's put it here. Okay, no, I don't want to put it there. Okay, well, let's put it here. No, I don't want to put it there. Okay, well, let's put it here. No, I don't want to put it there. Now, it definitely draws things out if everybody just keeps saying no. Of course, now I'm already thinking that seems kind of funny, because in my mind, I always just say yes to everything. I say, okay, well, then we're just saying yes to the fact that this guy likes to say no to everything. that's what that scene is. Now everybody's saying yes to the fact, you know, and then you would just start piling on more and more stuff to ask that guy, and he would just keep saying no to everything. And that is something that occasionally does happen in improv. I think actually that's almost like become a standard scene because of the fact that people do say no, and then they say no again, and then it's like, oh, okay, well then that's the game of our scene. So I've already digressed away from what I wanted to say yes to, which is the idea of saying yes again. Okay, so I think that sometimes, especially let's think of like one of the very beginning-y exercises where like I'll have two people sit in chairs, and like I have them sit because I don't want there to be any other influence than just they're going to say yes to each other. And it's like line, 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 yes, and line, 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 yes, and line, 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 yes, and line, 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 yes, and, you know, and yes, and yes, and everything like that. I suck at my puppet show, but but basically, you're going to be saying yes. And I think one of the fears, especially when people are not quite so, they haven't really drunk the Kool-Aid of improv quite yet, because they're just not ready to. That makes me want to drink some of my coffee. Excuse me. I think that there's this fear that it will get boring. But the fact is, it doesn't. What gets boring is when we stop saying yes and we stagnate. Now, I want to talk about life for a minute. I've had some serious blows in my life. I'm sure other people have too, but maybe it's the fact that I'm older, and also just it's just my life story has had some serious freaking ginormous roadblocks just tossed up right in front of me, even when I thought I was having the most momentum of my life. Like, for example, when I had a really serious health scare, it was on a day that, you know, I was in Hollywood, things were taking off. I was on a veil, not just for a commercial, y'all, for a sketch show that was like big. You know, it was going to be, I don't think it turned out into anything unless they changed the name and released it as something I, you know, didn't audition for. But it was like, I don't know, it was called like, I'm not going to say what it's called. But anyway, so I was on a veil for that. I had already had a callback, and I was set up for my second callback. I had 2 or 3 auditions that day. I had a rehearsal that night that I was excited about for one of my improv groups that I had been sort of freshly asked to be in, and I was very excited because one of the people that was running it was like, you know, he's now like a huge name on the circuit. He actually owns one of the main, you know, improv theaters. But at the time he was coaching, and I was like, this guy's freaking fabulous. And he was already, you know, almost all the way up there. But so just a lot of good things were coming in my life. My husband and I were getting along great and having a really nice little, you know, phase. And also I had just gotten a part-time job that I was excited about, working for a management agency for kids. And I had barely just started that. It paid very well. It was in Santa Monica, which was kind of fabulous, and a beautiful building. So things were going great. And then all of a sudden, boom, you know, I had a little bit of a sore throat. Then I had a little bit of nausea. Next thing you know, it was a freaking horror flick taking place. And, I almost died, and some, the paramedics came and had to get me, and I was in the hospital for days and days and days and days and days and days getting tested. What's wrong with you? I'm not going to go into my personal health story now. I may at some point, but I'm not going to do that today. But the point is, I've had things like that take place. That was a very big dramatic one, but my day was ruined. It was certainly changed. I was like, I just suddenly was in an episode of ER and everything was like crashing down around me. Things like that, when they happen, honeys, you go down for the count, man. You do. You really do. And you think it's the end, but it's not. And if every single day you just keep saying, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I will not go down like this, I won't. This is no big deal. I'm built for harder things even than this. This is nothing. I can take this. That is what I did. And, cut to, I healed entirely. I maybe should have died. I was given a very short prognosis that I would maybe survive somewhere between 5 and 15 years. And I was only in my early 30s. But here I am. And I just keep saying yes. And the more I say yes, the more I trust it. And the more I trust it, the more I say yes. And the more I say yes, the more I trust it. And I just recognize, I go, you know what? Yeah. There may be a hiccup in the road. There may be a couple shitty moments in the scene, but if I just keep saying yes to the next moment and adding something to that, I'm going to say yes to you. You're going to add something. You're going to say yes to me. It's just it's just me and the universe. That's the real life thing taking place. But on your stage scenes, just keep saying yes. Just keep saying yes. Even if you're like, part of your brain's going, if we keep going down this path, this is going to really suck. One of my writing coaches, I've said this before and I probably will again, but it's one of my absolute favorite things anyone's ever said to me. He was very handsome, my English teacher at that time. Oh my gosh, hubba, he was really cute. But it was like a 500 level, it was like a grad level English class, and I was I was young, I was undergrad, and I took it anyway. But he said something about, go into the hive. Like if you see a few bees, look for the hive, go into the hive. Go in, get stung, put ointment on, almost die, get bloated, lose your breathing, have an out-of-body experience. It's just, he's like, just keep going. And I'm of course mapping what I know now about improv, but the phrase was something like, go into the hive. And I say, go into the hive in your scenes, go. Don't talk about getting in a time machine. Get in the fucking time machine. Press buttons and see. Oh my God! My molecules are all blowing up. I don't know what's happening. Ooh, I feel like I smell mustard. What's that about? Just whatever. Just keep saying yes. Keep saying yes. Keep saying yes. Say yes again, and say yes again, and say yes again, and say yes again, and even say yes to the no's. I'm telling you, please listen to me. Not just in your scenes, but in your life. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.